Hello friends, welcome back to my channel Syntax Adda. My name is Ravi Ranjan and today I am going to cover a topic on singleton pattern. So as we saw in our previous videos, right, where I covered the basic concept of design patterns, right, and then we covered the solid principles. So during the discussion on design patterns, right, so we came across the three problems, right, which in while software development. So first was like when we want to create objects again and again, right? Then there was there was another situation where we can in that software development we can have the situation like where we can combine two or more objects to create a structure and to add some new functionality, right? The third type of problem was communication between two objects. So based on that we had different design patterns. So first was your creational design patterns, then it was your structural design pattern, and third one was your behavioral design pattern. So if you want to know these concepts in detail, I would recommend you to go through my previous video, okay, and then come to this video where I'm going to start with the singleton pattern. So in the, in the singleton pattern, if we'll talk about the singleton pattern, this comes under the category that is your creational design patterns, okay. So this falls under the category of creational design patterns, okay. So why we use singleton pattern means we have one class instance, and that instance of that class, right, will have global point of access, okay. So singleton pattern allows you to create one and only one instance, right? So one instance, right, and that instance will have global point of access, right? Global point of access. Now, let's see how we can create the singleton class. So when we talk about the singleton pattern, so we talk about the one instance. So when this type of class is called, it should return only single instance, and then that instance should be accessible throughout the application lifecycle. Okay. So what is the points we have to keep in our mind? So first point, right? So first point is whenever you are writing the singleton class, the constructor of that singleton class must be private. So this should have private constructor. Okay. So we'll see this in example. Okay. Constructor. Okay. So we should have the singleton class must have the private constructor. Second point is if we are writing the singleton class, then this should have instant like static, static instance member. Okay. So it should have a static member. And third thing which we must know, right? So it should have a static method for access. It should have a static method for access. Okay. So these are the three main points we have to keep in mind while writing the singleton pattern. Okay. So now let's go to IntelliJ IDE. Okay. And then I will create one project. So I will create one new project. Okay. I'll give this name as singleton pattern. Okay. So let's create this. Yes, I want this in the same window. And then let's create one class. And I will give this name as I want to create this in the package com.syntaxadda dot singleton pattern, right? So it's we are going to talk about singleton pattern, and I'm going to create singleton class. You can give any name. Right now I'm giving this name singleton. So as we see this singleton class, I have given this class name as singleton, and I have created this in this package. Okay. So what was the first tool? So it should have private constructor. So private singleton, right? So why this constructor should be private? Because it when we declare, right, this constructor as private, then no other class will be allowed to instantiate this singleton class from outside. So that's why we are making this one as, private. Okay. So this is the very first thing, right? So let's say if we'll allow this singleton class to be created, right? Then this will be public. Then always when no new instance of this class will be created. So just to prevent the outside, outside world or client to create multiple singleton class objects, we are declaring this, singleton class constructor as private. Okay. So next rule was like, it should have static instance member. Okay. So and also this should also be private. So this member should also be private to this class. So static, private, static. Okay. And this member is going to return the, let's say it's a singleton instance. Okay. So we have declared this instance member variable, okay, with the name as private static singleton instance. Okay. Now third rule was we should have a static method for access. Just focus on this for access. So we want to create method that needs to be accessed from outside world or from the client, right? So how we will declare this one? So we'll declare this class as a public. Okay. So public. Okay. And this method should be static method. So this will be static. Okay. And then it is going to return the singleton object. Okay. And we'll write get instance. Okay. So whenever outside class is going to call this singleton, then this class we can call singleton dot get instance, and it is going to return the singleton instance. Okay. So we right now we have not initialized this one. When this is being called, we have to return the instance of this class. So how we can do this? So let's check if instance equal to null, right? So if instance is equal to null, then what we are going to do? We are going to return the instance of this class. So how we can do this? Instance equal to new, then singleton, right? And then once this is done, we are going to return this object instance. Okay. So this is your singleton class. Okay. So what we did here, we created the singleton class by first making this constructor as private, so that instance of this class will not be created. So that's why we have created the private constructor. Then we have declared this member, member field here as a instance, right? So it's private static singleton instance. Okay. And then we provided one method that is going to going to be accessed from outside, and it is going to return the singleton object. Okay. Now let's see, by testing this, we'll create one main method. Okay. And we'll have one private static void main. Okay. Now in this from this main class, I'm going to call the instance method of this singleton class, right? So what we are going to do, singleton dot get instance. You can see without creating the object of this, this singleton, we are able to call this instance method. And we can just we want to test this. So we'll just assign this with some variable singleton s1, let's say. So this is s1. And let's say we have another, object. So we'll have the another object with s2. And let's see if both are returning the same object or different object. So we'll print system dot out dot println. Okay. So println, and then we'll see s1, like instance 1. We'll see what's the value. So s1, and then same way we'll have the second one also, right? So s2, and then we'll have s2 here. So let's run this. So right click, run main. Let's see what's the output. So if you see right here, so both of this, right, s1 and s2, so both are having the same instance. So here for s1 also the same object, for s2 also the same object. So we have achieved this singleton pattern. This kind of singleton class which we wrote here, this is called lazy singleton. Why we call it lazy? So we know, let's talk in general term. When we talk about lazy, like if person is lazy, So until and unless you don't ask anything, they will not do anything, right? That person will not do anything, right? So once you will ask, then only they will perform, right? So that's called lazy person, right? So it's the same thing, the same concept, if you apply here. So it means until unless we are not asking for the instance, this singleton class is not going to provide you the instance of this singleton, right? So if you see in the main, when we ask, then only it provided you the instance. So this is called lazy singleton. Okay. Now, there are many use cases when we use this singleton pattern in our application. So we can think about, like configuration management, right? When any application is loading, right? Then we want some configuration to be loaded when application loads, right? And then we can use the same configuration instance always for performing some, some action in the application, right? So in this use case, we can use the singleton pattern. So that is the configuration management. Then second use cases we can think about, that is the logging, right? So most of this is very commonly used, use case in the industry, right? So when we want to, log, right? When an application, right, we want to log database log or, console log, or it can be any kind of log, right, or file log. So we want to write one singleton class, right, which will load all the, at the initially when application loads, that time only it will load all the important configuration. And when we call the instance of this logging, right, it will start writing your uh, log messages, right? So next one where we can think of using this singleton pattern. So we can use this in caching. We can also use these this pattern in DB connection, right? We can have one DB connection class, and in the application at different places, from different places we can call that DB connection. We can perform the operation, right? So we need not to write these DB connection logic again and again, right? So these are the example where we can use the singleton pattern. So hope this is very clear to you. If you like my video, please like, then share it with your friends, and also subscribe for any further notification. Thank you so much.